News Ticker is a SharePoint app that creates a banner on a SharePoint page displaying announcements from a SharePoint announcements list. To install News Ticker, you simply click the settings icon that's typically located in the upper right hand corner of your SharePoint site, and from the settings menu you would choose the Add an App option. From the Add an App page, you can navigate to the SharePoint store by clicking the SharePoint store link in your quick launch. From the SharePoint store, you can find the News Ticker application by searching for it in the search box. Type in News Ticker, click the search icon, and I see the News Ticker application there in my results. If I click the News Ticker link, this takes me to a page that describes a little bit about it, how it works. Notice that it's a free application. I can install the app on my site by clicking the Add It button. In my case, I've already added it to my site, so I'm just going to navigate back to my site. To use the News Ticker application, it's installed as an app part onto any web page. So I'm going to add a new web page to my site. Again, from my settings menu, this time I'm going to choose the Add a Page option. We'll call this News Ticker Demo. Click Create to create it. And I'll go ahead and use the Insert tab. And on the Insert tab toolbar, I'll click the Add Part button. After having installed News Ticker, I should have an app part that is named News Ticker. I'll select that, click the Add button to add it to my page. And it's automatically reading a news feed that has been created on the app's website, the app site. But ideally what I want to do is create my own announcements list and link this News Ticker to my own custom announcements list. So I'm going to save this page and go ahead and create my own custom announcements list. So I'm going to do that by clicking again my settings icon, going back to the Add an App option, and then I'll use the announcements template. And I'll call this Bruce's Announcements. I'll add a few announcements into Bruce's Announcements. I'm going to go ahead and click the New Announcements link to add a new announcement to this list. Call this FW Part 1. And it's the body field that's the important field. This is what gets read into the banner by News Ticker. So we'll say something like, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. And I'll save that. Oh, before I save that, very important, I need to set a date, an expires date. The News Ticker will not pick up on anything that doesn't have a date, and it has to be some date in the future. So I'll set it to somewhere in the end of the month and then click Save. Now I'm going to pause the video while I add a couple other announcements to my list. Now you can see that I've got 3 announcements in my announcements list. So I'm going to go back to my page and edit it so that it displays this in the banner, the News Ticker banner. So to get back to my page, I'll use my site contents, and then I'll use my site pages link. There's my new page, the News Ticker demo. Go ahead and open that up. And now I need to edit this web part to link it back to my custom announcements list. So I'll put the page in edit mode by clicking the edit link here in the upper right hand corner. And then to edit the web part, when I hover over the web part, I'll see a little drop down arrow, and from that drop down arrow, or from the menu from that arrow, then I can choose the edit web part option. And in the edit web part properties, I need to scroll over a little bit to see them. If I scroll then down to the bottom, I've got a section at the bottom labeled app settings. I'm going to expand that app settings, scroll down a little bit more. What I need to do is enter the name of my list in that field that's labeled News Ticker List. In my case, it's called Bruce's Announcements. And it's the display name of the list that you need to enter. You don't need to put any kind of URL in there, simply the display name of the list. There is also a field for an RSS feed, so that's another way that you can use this News Ticker, is by linking it to an RSS feed. But I'm just going to click the apply, And if I scroll up, I'll actually see that it's not really doing anything. And this is kind of a common problem that you might run into. What's missing is I need a link column that's of a hyperlink type added to my announcements list for it to properly read. And in my case, I'm using Office 365. That's what this site's connected to. And if I was using an on-premise SharePoint, the web part would actually tell me what I'm missing. In fact, I've got an on-premise SharePoint with that same problem in place. Click the tab. So this is my on-premise SharePoint, and it's linked to a announcements list. In this case, it's just called announcements, but it's also missing the link column. But you can clearly see in the scrolling banner, it's telling me that. It's telling me that I'm missing that link column of type URL. For whatever reason, currently Office 365 seems to suppress that error message, so I'm not actually seeing it. I'm going to go ahead and save the page, and we'll fix that. So I'll go back to Bruce's announcements, and I'll click the List tab to open up the List tab toolbar. And then I need to add a column, so I've got a shortcut on the toolbar labeled Create Column that I'll click. And I need to very specifically name this link with a capital L in the link word. And then I need to give it a type of hyperlink or picture. It defaults to the format you can see at the bottom there of hyperlink, which is fine. I can click OK. And ideally, your announcements would have some sort of link to go with them, but it's not necessary to actually have a link. It's just necessarily to have the link column in the announcements list. So we should be able to go back to the page. We'll go back to Site Contents, and then to Site Pages, open up my News Ticker demo page, and I can see that it now is correctly reading my announcements. You can see I'm scrolling across. And we could also modify the look and feel of this. So if I put the page back in edit mode, I'll then edit the web part again, scroll to the right, scroll to the bottom, expand my app settings, scroll down a little bit more, and I see I have choices of effects. I can have it change from scrolling to a fade type or a slide. It will change it to a fade. I also have themes, which changes kind of the color pattern. Let's try theme 10. We'll apply that. And I can see what it looks like just by scrolling up. So we can see that the text is fading in and out, and it's got kind of a gray background to the buttons. Notice how we can also click the pause if we want to pause on a banner, or we can manually navigate backwards and forward through the different announcements. And if these did have links to go with it, the user could hover over the banner item, click it, and then navigate to whatever hyperlink was attached to it. So in summary, News Ticker is a very simple, easy to use SharePoint app that allows you to create a banner that links to your announcements, and any custom announcements list that you have on your site has the ability to be able to change the look and feel of it. And again, it's just really useful, really easy to use. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.